What is the one thing which is worth spending more money on? That's going to be the topic of today's video. Now, on many of my videos before, I've talked about frugality, spending money wisely and so on, which is very true. However, there is one thing I do think can be worth spending a lot more money on in some cases, and that's time. Now, when it comes to time, it's the one thing we can't get back. And in addition to that, it is something we can kind of leverage as well. So for example, we only have 24 hours in a day, but if we have people working for us, we could have thousands of hours a day. Likewise, even if we don't have people working for us, we use technology, that could be through adverts or whatever, you could literally indirectly have thousands of hours indirectly a day. So time is one thing you can leverage in that way. You can also leverage it in investing, compound investing returns. And I think the bottom line is time is a very valuable resource. And that doesn't mean going stupid on this and always spending more to kind of save time. But we have to remember that if we do something, obviously our time is worth something as well. So if somebody, for example, cooks for 2 hours and they don't like cooking particularly, but they don't want to order something in, but their time is worth a lot of money, they could be losing money by cooking, as a simple example. So we always have to bear in mind that time is extremely important. It's the one resource we can't get back. Even money, we can get it back more easily than time, of course. So time is the one thing I think that people should, in some cases, invest a lot more into and spend more money to get more time. Apart from that, I would say experiences have always brought me more fun than things, especially new experiences. And new experiences don't necessarily have to cost a lot of money. They can do, or they could cost nothing or close to nothing. But either way, experiences tend to mean more than things. Things can be great, as long as they're occasional things, right? If you keep buying things every single day, they get boring. But if once a year you kind of upgrade one of your gadgets or whatever, I think that's fine. But in general, I think when I look back on, say, when I was much younger, like most people, I think a lot of spending wasn't necessarily done productively. I never cared that much about peer pressure, but I do think a lot of spending does come down to peer pressure, doing what you think is normal. Also, business spending, a lot of spending historically has got wasted. Like, one of the things I should have done much sooner is work remotely much more quickly. A lot of people say to me, "Oh, Adam, you are ahead of the game because you started working remotely at least part of the time in 2014, and you are fully remote by about 2018, 2019, long before COVID." But I often say to people, I wish I'd done it sooner because the world was going in that direction anyway, and hotels and flights are a waste of money if you do it too often, even for business spending. But this gets us back full circle to time, because the way I used to do business, I used to think, oh well, I've made a profit from this trip, I've gone to this place or whatever, I've met some clients and all this kind of thing, and I haven't lost money, and if I didn't do this I wouldn't get as much business. But obviously that wasn't the case. There's loads of ways you can do business, as we're seeing now these days, and for a long time now we have been in a digital world. But I also wasted a lot of time. It wasn't just money, I wasted a lot of time with those trips. So actually, indirectly, I now consider I lost money on those trips, even if in some cases I seem to be making quite a lot of money on the surface, or a reasonable amount of money, right? I'm not saying never travel for business, right? Sometimes it can be nice. For example, once COVID's over, it would be lovely occasionally, every few months maybe, to have a 2 or 3 day trip, not just for business, but partially for business, see some clients, see some friends, see some acquaintances, but not just for business, socially and getting out of the city and that kind of thing. So I'm not saying never do these things, but the point I'm making is to bring it back full circle. Is people, including me previously, often think, well, if you're making money, then it's worth it. But you have to factor in time as well, and energy. And traveling is a great example of that. The jet lag, the time in the airport, the time getting to the hotel, maybe the time from the hotel to the subway, right? So time is the one thing I think, and it's from my experience, if you're really careful about how you use your time, great things will eventually happen. That doesn't mean being super efficient with everything. I'm a great believer that sometimes having some downtime is good, because also you can think about more things. If if you just take a walk to the park or go to the mountain or whatever, your mind can think about business in a much more calm way than always sitting in an office. So it is a balance between many things, but I've came to learn that if you actually care a lot about time and how you use at least 80% of your time, even if you're a bit slack with 20% of your time, it can have great effects. How can I help you? In two ways. First of all, are you an expat, a high net worth individual, or just somebody who lives in a part of the world where it's difficult to get access to quality investment solutions? In which case, go onto my website on adamfayed.com and find out more. If you don't fit into any of those categories, then in which case there's a range of free material on my website, on this YouTube channel, and indeed on my Quora, where I get over 200 or have received over 231 million views in the last few years. And finally, if you want to actually read my thoughts in more detail, go onto Amazon and find my book on there.